r/rules horror. Posted by you/lost in Nexus City. Welcome to Nexus City, Sunny Street. Well, looks like somebody's good at following orders. Not the best at drawing, maybe, but hey, you at least listen to me. Good dog. I'll be honest, most people don't make it this far. Most don't make it past the road, much less the labyrinth. I never elaborated on this much, but goddamn, it was hard to get that car to you in the first place. Had to pull a lot of strings to get that there, and now I have some city slicker fuck chasing me around the city. Quick side note. You ever meet a man named Mason, kill him for me. Soon as he sees your journal, he'll try and kill you first. I cannot afford to let him get this journal. He's been hunting and systematically butchering anyone I get under my employ, including me. Been a bitch and a half to keep this journal out of his grubby hands, but I've always been smarter than him. Make sure my name is the last thing he ever hears and I'll make it worth your while. Oh, and yes, I know you read some of my files. Believe me, I can see almost everything you do, and you're looking at that book a lot differently now. Still, you seem to be somewhat reliable, so I'll let it slide. We pulled this off, the journal's yours anyway, including all the papers in it. I simply won't need it, or you, or anyone, anymore. Hell, you can give it to Mason if you do this right. I'll have already won. But that's all in good time. You're out of the maze now, so at last, welcome to Sunny Street. I hate it here. It's so loud and cutesy that I'm planning on burning it down someday. It's like a corpse at Disney World. All the bright, colorful, fake buildings, happy dressed up employees sweating themselves to death, a food stall never more than 20 feet away, and god-awful squealing children. And right in the middle of it all is a body, somehow the most real and natural thing there. I despise it. Is Disney World a thing in your original world? Guess it doesn't matter. Hate it there, too. The street has 11 stores and a good 20 houses. 5 shops and 10 homes on each side. Evenly symmetrical and color-coded. Disgustingly, unnaturally perfect. Lollies is at the very end. The 11th facility. Your destination. Get there. The streets themselves are the safest part. No NCPD comes back here. Don't know if they get lost in the maze or if the thing in there actually gets them. Maybe they're just scared, if that part of them hasn't been psychologically destroyed. Most people don't even know this place exists. Anyone who survives longer than a month knows to stay the fuck out of the labyrinth anyway. Really, at the top of my head, only 12 people know this place exists. 9 of them are dead. You, me, and that lunatic hunting me down are all that know. Fortunately I still have my eyes in here, so I've been able to watch and learn from those dead 9. Those crowds. Human curiosity gets the better of most of my helpers, and they just walk right into the middle of one. Don't do that. It will make getting this journal back moderately difficult, and friends are just so hard to find. God, the people here. Mostly adults, by the way. Had to guess, between 20 and 80. Wandering, smiling, aimless. Some are crying, some just laugh. Some are just dead. But always smiling. Try and ignore them. Sometimes they just don't stop walking, and the shoes will be worn off their feet, leaving footprints of blood and skin with every step. Sometimes they're blind, their eyes so dried out or just white from non-stop crying. Sometimes they just don't have eyes. Sometimes they laugh for so long, it just isn't laughter anymore, just sharp breathing sounds, like a fucked up squeaky toy. And, sometimes, you'll never see them at all. Their cheeks are just torn to hell. Always. No one's meant to smile that long. Smiling is a muscle, right? The zygomaticus major, I think. The skin looks like someone took a scissor and carved right up to the ears. There's tendons of flesh that keep their faces together. Sometimes you'll just find a jaw on the pavement. Let's address something. You may or may not have noticed this while you've been wandering around, but there aren't many children in the city. There's a damn good reason for this. Children, specifically anyone under the age of 16 years old, do not last long in the city. They aren't meant to. The city wasn't designed for them. You know why I had to be so specific with the maze with you? If you're young enough, there isn't anything in the maze. It's like it's entirely based on perception. You physically cannot interact or even fucking see the thing in there if you're too young. Like it's trying to keep unwanted people out. Adults. This place is lure. Bait. Children are drawn from the moment they set foot on the road. Children being chosen by the city is already rare, much less making it to the city without help, but for those that do, It's like a magnet. Funny that I actually mentioned the road. Sunny Street's alive. And I mean alive, not whatever half-sentient predator bullshit the road is. Sunny Street is a living, breathing entity. If you ever decided to lean your head near those plastic-looking sunflowers that litter the area, you would feel air coming out. I think it was already like this before it came to the city. Something fucked up happened on its world and now it just burrows itself into the city. It wasn't always here, it's not some ancient entity. It's very much a biological animal, and if given the chance I would love to dissect it and see how it works. Unfortunately we can't all get what we want. The thing only has a few rules for general traversal. 1. Never stop smiling, no matter what you see. Full teeth, no half-ass smirk. Your jaw will hurt and ache, but do not stop smiling the moment you hit the streets. 2. You're going to see a couple of people walking around. No matter what they say to you, don't speak to them. They want you to stop smiling. 3. Never look directly up. That bright light is not the sun, but it is watching you. 4. Don't ever sit on the benches. Don't stand still for too long in general. 5. Don't touch the flowers. It's not sunlight they consume. 6. Ignore the music and don't look for the speakers. Don't think about how the lyrics doesn't match the music. Don't let it get stuck inside your head. 7. You'll probably see butterflies just floating around the street. Don't let any land on you for more than a minute or they will alert the horde. They can swarm you completely in about 30 seconds, and pick you clean in half that time. 8. If at any point you hear a sound like a release or like gas being filtered, like something has been released into the air, hold your breath. Don't become like the crowds. 9. If somebody else stops smiling, stay the fuck away from that person. Their time, and the time of anyone around them, is now very short. 10. If the ground starts moving in a sort of wave, stand completely still. If you're incapable of standing still, get on something already on the ground, like a curb or a streetlight. It's hungry. On the bright side, you'll get to worry less about crowds for a bit. 11. If there is a crowd in the middle of the street, get to the sidewalk. Do not walk into the crowd. You will not walk out. 12. Otherwise, do not walk on the sidewalk if you can help it. It's very sensitive there and it will notice you. If you have to walk onto the sidewalk, get off as soon as you possibly can. 13. Do not enter any store besides lollies. Those aren't stores, they're mouths. 14. If any of the store doors are open, wait, don't stop, pace, but don't progress forward, until it closes. 15. Ignore any screams you might hear below you, no matter how loud or pained they sound. It's far too late for them. The stores are entirely randomized. Arcades, toy shops, soda parlors, whatever would separate a child from their parents the fastest. Right, the children. You probably will not see any children. Any of them that are still kids are either in lollies, one of the other shops, or below you. You better hope to God you don't see a child. On the off chance you see a child in the street, trust me, you'll understand. Their eyes aren't those of a child anymore. Stay the fuck out of a child's sight. They're sporadic, hopped up on something entirely different than what the adults are on. If you have to walk in their line of sight, make yourself look as lobotomized as possible and don't stand out. 2. Don't make eye contact with them for a prolonged period of time. They'll know, and then it will know. 3. Don't touch them. For the love of Christ, do not touch them. 4. If the ground below you starts shifting violently, move away from any manhole very quickly. One is coming up. 5. Ignore anyone being dragged off by a child. Do not intervene in any way. If it makes you feel better, they won't be suffering for much longer. 6. Ignore groups of more than 2 children like the plague. If you see more than 2 at any given point, it's hunting season. 7. If a child grabs you, do everything you can to release yourself from its grip. Bite, punch, gouge, whatever you can to stop the child from taking you. The game changes if you piss of a child. The mask drops. Whatever the street is, it will know you're there, and it will be incredibly angry at you for laying a hand on one of its drones. 1. Run. Do not stop running. Run to either lollies or the exit. Once you leave or enter lollies, you stop existing to the thing. 2. Everything I told you to avoid earlier goes for double now. You have Sunny Street's full attention and it's not going to let you go until you're gone, one way or another. 3. The wandering adults are no longer just wandering. Stay out of their way. 4. If you weren't already ignoring the music, now you need to. 5. Every shop door will fling open and close entirely randomly. Don't just charge forward, or it will get you. 6. Children will litter the street now. They will be faster than you. Push adults in their way, fight them off, Trick them into running in front of an open door, it doesn't matter. Don't let them stop you. 7. Stay away from manhole covers regardless of movement. They will not hesitate to pull you down. 8. Don't look up. It's eyes on you now. Direct eye contact is all it takes to lose. There's no advice I can give you after that beyond just survive. I've only lost 2 of my helpers this way. First just didn't understand how it all worked, saw a scrawny, malnourished, delusional kid running around and went to help her. Compassion is not a virtue, it's a vulnerability. The second knew what she was doing. She was fast, even I was barely able to keep track of her movement. Just wasn't fast enough. Anyway, I've given you everything you need to get through this relatively safely. You really can't fuck up here. If you were to get hurt, or, God forbid, die, I wouldn't know what I would do with myself. I mean, I'd have to go get the journal myself before he gets there, and that would just ruin my day. Oh, and I'd need to find a new dog, too. Such a hassle. So don't die. We'll speak again when you make it to Lolly's. Hal. There's writing coming in on the bottom under his signature. It's not Hal's. It's messy, terrible even. It looks vaguely familiar. Perhaps you've seen it once already? Whoever is writing seems panicked. Scared. He's lying to you. Don't trust Hal.